All right. Welcome back to The Five. Well, Monday we talked about the growing scandal surrounding solar power company Solyndra on the show. And today there was a hearing on Capitol Hill to get some answers. Well, if you don't know the story yet, Solyndra got more than $500 million stimulus dollars, or should I say taxpayer dollars, only to go bankrupt just 2 years later. But the biggest bombshell seems to be new emails that have surfaced, putting the spotlight on the White House and what exactly their involvement was. We've got some great emails here. The first one is March 10th, 2009. An official at OMB wrote to a colleague, quote, "This deal is not ready for prime time." The second email, August 31st, 2009. This is an email from a senior OMB staffer to the Office of the Vice President. Quote, "We would prefer to have sufficient time to do our due diligent review and have the approval set the date for the announcement rather than the other way around." What do you make of this, Dana?
Having been at the White House and can smell a scandal when it's coming, as the communicators, I would be a little bit nervous. There's also some accusations initially that this was because the Bush administration, that the Bush officials had signed off on it, but they had not signed off on it. And in fact, it was rated a sub-investment grade and that's why it didn't go out the door, because it's not just a question of whether or not this company had officials that gave money to the Democrats. That could be true, whatever. I think that's beside the point. I think it was that they wanted to get this money out the door because maybe they believed in the company, but the career officials, who were not the politicals, were telling them the deal wasn't ready, and they pressed them to go ahead and do it anyway because the vice president was giving a speech.
Yeah, well, but there's also a concern, too, here that's in play about cronyism and who supported and how much they were involved with campaigning, and did they get preferential treatment if this deal wasn't ready to go, if they shouldn't have honored it because it didn't appear to have viable financial deal points.
And that might be a part of the investigation. There's multiple investigations going on now, from the FBI to the special, the Inspector General and others. So it could be that they're looking at that, too.
But does it really matter? I mean, they meant well.
No, yeah.
As long as you're doing something for the environment, corruption doesn't matter, because corruption based on the greater good, you always get away with it.
I don't know, $535 million, Eric?
First of all, the issue that we're talking about and that they're looking into, the FBI raided the office. They want to find out of many things, but this George Kaiser, he's a massive, he's a very wealthy man who bundled money for Obama, who also happened to be somehow tied to an investment in Solyndra before the $500 million comes in. Here's the issue, though. $500 million, yeah, okay, so sometimes it happens. There are bad calls that are made.
Sure.
But if you're going to take $500 million, multiply it by the $800 billion in stimulus one, the $447 billion in this upcoming stimulus request, there is massive amount of waste, fraud, and abuse that's going to go out the door, and that's our money.
Taxpayers are mad. They don't want their cash, their hard-earned dollars, being treated like, monopoly dollars. Here, you need some stimulus, pass it on around the table.
Before Bob makes his great point, the other thing is, the money that is in that account right now has been shoveled out the door in the last week to other companies because they have a deadline of September 30th.
Right.
I think that's the wrong approach. I think that the lawyers should have said to all of them, stop, press the pause button, let us get a review done before you take another step out the door.
Exactly. Well, they were trying to get deals going, but more of the shovel-ready approach. And we cede the floor to Mr. Bob Beckel.
Let me just amend what I was going to say by saying that statement that Eric just made about widespread fraud and abuse in the stimulus program is not provable. It is a slander statement to make for people who receive that money. But this story, just wait a second, I'd like to be non-interrupt here because it's the last I'm going to say on this subject. This story on Solyndra is a clear effort to smear Barack Obama by suggesting that he gave government guarantees in exchange for campaign contributions. A classic Republican scam. It's based on no evidence except for these little emails that you've got. And as far as I'm concerned, we won't talk about the $50 billion in no contract bids or no bid contracts that Halliburton got during the Iraq War from Bush and Cheney, but we will talk about this. It's the last time I'm going to talk about it. I refuse to talk about it anymore. You guys go talk about it. The next days we talk about it, I'm out of this discussion. It is slanderous and it's libelous, and you should be. Never mind.
Okay, wait. You said you want me, but I do want to make another point. One of the things that the office person who runs this now, his name's Silver, he said that it was an outrage that in January 20, 2009, when President Obama took office, there were only 15 people working on the loan guarantee program. Guess how many people work in that government program now? 250.
Where's he going?
All making $175,000. Also, Kimberly, noteworthy is that he can sit over there. There's $10 billion still sitting in this green energy loan fund that may or may not go out the door. Bottom line, this is Obama has a lot of problems. One of his worst appointments on record will be Stephen Chu, the Secretary of Energy.
Yes.
The guy's failing across all avenues, drilling, green, everything. The guy, I don't even think
another
ever
$1.2 billion
car,
for 900.
Can I say something though? It's a different kind of corruption in the sense that I have to say this, they meant well. And the deal wasn't ready for prime time, but it didn't matter because they wanted a poster child for the green movement,
right.
And that's what it was. And now it's a most wanted sign.
They picked them, they chose them, they bet on the wrong horse. But you're saying their intentions were in the right place to stimulate the economy.
Good intentions never end well. They never end well. Right, Bob?
You coming back?
Bob, you can hear me. I know you can.
Lure
Go to your room, Bob. Go to your room.
All right.
I'm in my room.
Coming up, Bob Beckel will be back at the table. We hope we pray. And a union battle brewing in the nation's capital involving the NLRB, Boeing, and Republican lawmakers. Stay with us. The 5 continues next.